So this story comes from Metal Sucks. How many of you know about the band Shrapnel? Well, there is a band called Shrapnel in the UK. They're a thrash metal band who released their debut full length earlier this year on Candlelight. Well, this isn't about them. This is about another band who happens to be called Shrapnel from the US. They're not signed to Candlelight nor any other label, but when after you've heard what I had to say, you'll probably come to the conclusion that I came to, that I don't think this band is going to be getting any label signing anytime soon. And not just because their music sucks, because to be honest, I haven't really listened to them, but it's because of how they conduct themselves. And the way they've conducted themselves on social media is that they're a bunch of crybabies who demonstrate as much professionalism as they must demonstrate love for President Obama. So the story goes like this. This band Shrapnel recently posted this image on their Facebook page. Now, pause to read. Now, having people leave before your set does suck and it's not a good feeling. But I have no idea why this public outrage was meant to achieve. I mean, there have been probably venues upon empty venues that have support acts play and people turn out for them, but for some reason people don't really care about the headliner, and that's their business. How they choose to spend the time is down to them. Now, you don't see some bands crying about it on the internet while professing that the only real people who like their music are their friends, and those friends don't even really like their music all that much. Really, all this does is just tee up an easy joke for internet wise asses. Also, pause to read this as well. Now, I don't know if Danny Anderson actually knows Shrapnel or dislikes or even has listened to any of the music or is just trolling them, but regardless, her insult didn't really want any further comment from the band. It's like if I was going to go to a party and I get there early and I said to her, sorry, I came early, and the host replied, I've heard you have that problem. I couldn't really be mad because the joke was just hanging there in front of our faces like a ripe fruit. I could argue that the joke was too obvious to be funny, but being all pissy about it would be just a total waste of energy. And this is what Shrapnel does, apparently, because once again, pause to read their response. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's one of the worst ways to respond. Not only does this author come out as a sexist with the brains of a dead pigeon, like, look at the way this person spelled female. It just makes no sense whatsoever. People only come to see us because they were dragged to the show, and then they don't stay at the show, or if they do, they fuss around with their phones the whole time. So the band rather those people not come to the show at all. I mean, okay, either way, your band is playing for an empty room. Where's the sense in that as well? At least if people are dragged to the show, you can claim to have sold some tickets, but logical reasons are clearly not these guys' strengths. And in fact, they somehow managed to dig their own grave even deeper after someone reported their initial Facebook post for foul language, and pause to read how they responded to that as well. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that this band may have big things on their future, but in all likelihood, the metal sucks that acting like total idiots. But alright, putting the article aside, here's how I see it. I'm not one for walking out during the band's set because, like most people, I'm there to see the band who's headlining. In addition to this, supports or open acts are the golden opportunity to discover new music. So I understand if people are there for certain bands, but at the same time, this sort of mindset can gradually destroy a music scene in the long run. Don't get me wrong, I love established bands that can pack out a 2,000 to 20,000 capacity venue, but a scene can't just thrive on those sorts of bands alone. That's where the bands that can pack out a 250 to 1,000 capacity venue, as they'll be the up and coming bands to look out for. Now back to Shrapnel. Let their conduct on social media be a massive lesson for any up and coming band out there. Learn to take setbacks on the chin, go back to the drawing board, be open to change and improving yourselves. Most of the established bands out here wouldn't be at the level that they're at if they kept on doing the same thing over and over again. And let me just say this. it's it's not necessarily a bad thing to change your sound. All right, you got to keep the fans happy, but at the same time, you have to be totally comfortable with whatever you're putting, whatever it is you're putting out there. And not to forget, don't be negative towards people if they give you negative feedback, because that negative feedback could be an opportunity for learning.